everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Anna, a psychologist in training, and today we'll be talking about the importance of play as an adult. My tripod is shaking. The concept of play is important to developmental psychology. It's very important for children to play because it's their way of discovering the world, interacting with their environment, gaining new skills, learning to navigate the world that they inhabit. Play is fun for exactly that reason, because it's adaptive to do, so we need an incentive to do it. If play weren't fun for children, then they wouldn't have as much incentive to explore their environment and therefore survive it. One definition of play is to do something just because it's fun or relaxing or enjoyable. Another definition I've heard is to do something for absolutely no reason than because it's enjoyable. Not for money, not for secondary gain, not for an education, not for your fitness goals, not because someone else is telling you to do it, just because you feel like it. But play is important for adults too, and in people of all ages, play has been found to turn on genes in the brain, to improve emotion regulation, retain cognitive flexibility, teach people how to engage with each other socially, etc. If you think about it, when your grandma, for example, plays Sudoku or Scrabble or word puzzles, she's playing, she's keeping her mind alive. Whereas children may play with games or acting out scenarios or running around wearing capes, adults have slightly other things that they find fun to do. I don't know about you, but for me, this summer is going to be the longest vacation that I have for possibly ever. It's also the only time that I will not have had a single responsibility since after college, I think. It'll be the first time I have no classes, no dissertation, no practicum, nothing in between me finishing my classes and starting internship. Which is why I completely intend to turn it into like this summer of mischief, where I embody as much play as possible, kind of like this mischievous fairy giggling in the woods. I find myself embodying the mother archetype quite a lot in my day-to-day life by constantly creating, working, nurturing others. But this summer, I want to really lean into the maiden and the wild woman archetype, where I honor playfulness and fun. So if you're down to try it along with me, here are some tips for how to do so. Tip number 1, make a list of all the activities that you do for no other reason than because it's fun. It could be swimming in a body of water, spending time in nature, traveling, throwing a party, dressing up nice, taking a long bath, having a nice cocktail, going out for dinner with friends, having a date night with your partner, going to the movies, dancing, sleeping, shopping, drawing, playing with a child or a pet, being intimate with your partner, going to a concert, playing a board game. It's quite a wide range where adults are concerned and very individual to individual. How can you incorporate more of these in your day-to-day life? You should be ideally doing them daily, not once in a blue moon. Like definitely at least do one thing a day. And they may sound a lot like self-care, but they're not quite self-care. Self-care typically has the purpose of keeping you physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, socially well. But remember, with play, it's important to want to do it for no other reason than because it's fun. Not because you want to put on muscle or hit a certain step goal or branch out socially or make money or get a good grade in school, only because it's fun. So hypothetically, 2 people could be doing the exact same activities and one could be doing them for a secondary reason while one person is doing it purely for fun. For example, if I have a dance workout today, but I'm trying to accomplish a certain goal weight, or I want to look a certain way so that I get validation from other people, that's completely different than a person who's dancing just because it's fun and they want to let loose. That leads me to the next tip, which is fully engross yourself in the experience of play. Don't turn it into a competition of how hard can I play so that I can reap the most psychological benefits of play. Simply listen to your intuition, listen to your mind and your body telling you what feels good, and mindfully throw yourself into the moment. Some of the richest benefits come from things we do out of intrinsic motivations. From the things we do just because we feel like it and not because someone else is telling us to or threatening us if we don't. For example, it's the difference between me doing a presentation on a topic for class because it was assigned and I want to get a good grade versus me doing a presentation for something that I'm really passionate about, where preparing for the presentation feels like play rather than work. Find ways to infuse play into your work and to mindfully experience play with no ulterior motives. Regularly check in with yourself about what feels fun and what feels good. If you're playing a board game, for example, and you're getting tired, you could say, I think I want to go take a shower and watch TV instead. Or I was planning on having the salad, but I really feel like making pizza instead. Listen to your intuition and engross yourself in the experience. This is particularly important, obviously, for people that struggle with play, that struggle to take things a little lightly, that are too much into generativity or seeing progress or compulsivity. Obviously, if you're already somebody that's a little impulsive, a little bit leisurely with your time, kind of lets yourself off the hook a lot, maybe this attitude would not be as helpful for you. Tip number 3, embody this mindset of a wild fairy maiden or a trickster or whatever else you relate to the most, depending on your gender identity, depending on what calls to you. When I think about a sprightly, playful energy, I think about embodying a sense of feeling unbothered, unworried about responsibility, of savoring and enjoying every moment, of being in touch with the 5 senses, of being carefree, going with the flow instead of being controlling, anxious, compulsive, of taking a gentle, charismatic, suave approach with other people, of being wild, running free, feeling like a she-wolf, leaping into the shadows, being a little bit mystical and mysterious and mischievous, being unafraid of the darkness and a little bit scary to other people in that way. Because if you're familiar with any fairy lore, fairies in pretty much any culture can be quite terrifying to people. They like to sort of wreak havoc on people that cross them. And of course, I'm only encouraging you to infuse a tiny fraction of this into your life. All play and no work obviously is not feasible, it's not productive, it's not healthy, and I'm not suggesting you play tricks on people just for fun. I'm talking about things like putting a silly hat on your cat when the mood is too heavy, or throwing in a funny photo in your PowerPoint slideshow, stuff like that. Get into this mindset however you need, whether it be putting post-its on your laptop or setting certain alarms and notifications on your phone, or dressing like a fairy like I am today. Number 4, mystify everyday tasks. This is sort of a way of reframing your everyday life in a way that adds just a little bit of mystique and magic to it, that makes it feel a little special, a little mysterious, a little old-timey. I'm going to preface this by saying I wouldn't recommend this technique if you're someone who struggles with reality testing, if you do experience something like delusions or hallucinations. But in the case that you don't, it could look like when you're going to the pharmacy for your COVID booster, for example. Thinking in your head, oh, this is like me making a trip to the apothecary to buy an magical elixir that makes me immune to hexes. Or when you go to the supermarket, thinking of it as like gathering fruits and berries in an urban forest. When you're making juice, you're not just making juice, but you're making this healthy, healing potion with ingredients that are meant to boost different types of health. When you work out, you're not just working out, you're in a boot camp to be the next Agent 007. You're not just going out for wine with your friends, but you're sipping the maddening nectar of Dionysus. You're not just taking off your makeup at the end of the day. You're not just trying to get rid of an annoying nuisance, trying to do it as quickly as possible, but rather you're having a cleansing ritual with the water of the fountain of youth. Stuff like that. I know it sounds kind of silly, but if you're someone that takes things too seriously and needs to just play a little bit, this is a fun way to just infuse that into day-to-day life. For people that want to sort of lean into their inner child and use their imagination and creativity and fantasy life to make reality a little bit more manageable, this can be a way to add a little bit of magic to the mundane or even unpleasant things in life. So let me know what you thought about these tips. What did I miss? How will you be infusing play into your summer of mischief? And if you want to join me on this expedition, I really hope that this video was helpful. I know I'm planning on just being a much more playful person, much more playful version of myself than usual this summer. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.